In this episode, I'm going to talk about the importance of choosing a launch date for your podcast. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's episode of Interview Connections TV. I am your host, Jessica Rhodes, and in this snowy episode, it is actually the third Monday in a row that here in Rhode Island we have had a snowstorm. We had a blizzard, and then another snowstorm, and another snowstorm, so I'm beginning to kind of get used to a 4-day work week because the snow keeps our nanny home, and then it's me and Nathan going crazy inside during the snow. So, but that's okay. That's why I started this business, to work from home and not have to worry about going out into the snow, I guess. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the importance of choosing a launch date for your podcast. You know, when I started Rhodes to Success, it was right around podcast movement. I went to podcast movement, had tons of fun. I led a panel, and I was totally, enthused about it. I already had these videos going, and I said I had a video podcast, but I was so excited. I wanted to start, an audio podcast where I could interview people as well. And I also read Jared Easley's book, Podcasting Good to Great, and I got so many ideas, and I thought, you know what, I have to start a podcast. So I came up with the ideas on the plane ride home. I was writing all these notes, and I actually found those notes, which is pretty fun. Maybe I'll scan that in and put it in the show notes or something. But I came up with all these ideas, and when I got home to talk to my dad, my business coach, and you can listen to our interview at rtspodcast.com/Jim. I had him on the podcast. He said, okay, choose a launch date. When are you going to launch? Because if you come up with an idea to do something, whether it's a podcast or videos or a course or something, if you don't choose a launch date, you are just going to plan and plan and plan and plan because you want it to be perfect, but it's never going to be perfect. So you just have to choose a launch date. Back in August, I said, okay, October 1st, because that gives me, August and September to get it ready, and then it doesn't drag on too long. And gosh darn it, I launched on October 1st. I said that's a Wednesday, so my podcast comes out on Wednesdays now. And I've been doing weekly episodes since then, and they just get better and better. No, I didn't have 10 episodes in the can when I started. I didn't have 10 episodes come out and then 10 episodes the next day so I could be on New and Noteworthy. I just launched. I launched with 3 episodes, and then I just kept going from there. And it grows in popularity, and people are reaching out and they're listening and they're saying, oh, I'm so excited to listen to your podcast again. So it does get more popular as time goes on, but don't wait to launch just because you're trying to make the most of New and Noteworthy, or you want it to be perfect, or you're waiting until you have enough episodes. Just get your podcast out there and then just make it better as you go. So that's my challenge for you. Pick a launch date if you haven't launched yet, or if you're in pre-launch, or if you've been recording episodes for months and you're just waiting for the right time. Just choose a date and start. And if you email me and tell me when you're going to launch your podcast, and you give me a link to the show when it's live, I will listen to it. I will rate and review it. If you'd like, I can email you and tell you what I think. If you want any of my feedback or my comments, if you want some ideas on guests, I'm happy to do that if you get in touch with me and let me know that you've taken this advice and implemented it into your own show. Listen to my podcast at rhodestosuccesspodcast.com, or you can just go to rtspodcast.com if you want to learn more about how Interview Connections can help you with your podcast. Find great guests. Just go to interviewconnections.com, and at interviewconnections.com/a-la-carte, you'll find a couple products and services that you can get to help you either get booked as a guest or to make your show even better with my ebook, Podcast Interviews. Thanks everyone. Have a great productive week. Do lots of interviews, and I will talk to you next Tuesday. You can learn more about how Interview Connections can help you get started with your show or book great guests at interviewconnections.com/guest. If you... wrong URL.